Hello everyone and welcome to Power Rangers Stories. Here I bring you the untold and what could have been stories. So sit back, relax and get ready to listen to some more phenomenal adventures. Also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notifications on the latest videos. And may the power protect you. Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. Chapter 16, The Samurai's Journey, Part 2. Previously. The heat. I don't have the strength left to fight it. Shane cried out. Their Zords ejected them, and as they crashed to the ground, they demorphed. 2 down, 2 to go. Madtropolis turned back to Zoey and Jenna, blasting them over and over until their Zords couldn't take it anymore. Like the others, the girls were ejected from their Zords, demorphing as they hit the ground. Now say goodbye, Rangers, he yelled down at them as they regrouped. This isn't over yet, Madtrocity. Zoey yelled up at him. What did you just say? Madtropolis asked, incredulously. For that, I will destroy you first. He bent to pick her up only for time to freeze, making everyone, including Madtropolis, to stop where they stood. Blue Bay Harbor. Unusually quiet for such an active town. But time stood still as the people were frozen on the spot. Including the Power Rangers. They stood like statues beneath Madtropolis, who was frozen in the act of reaching down, ready to finish the Rangers off. Suddenly, all 7 Rangers disappeared from the battlefield and reappeared in Ninja Ops. Unfreezing, 5 of the 7 Rangers sunk to the ground in exhaustion. Oh man, what's the deal? Blake groaned. I feel so weak, Hunter complained as Jenna tried to help stay sitting up. Save your energy, Rangers, Sensei told them as they looked up. I have activated Cam's teleportation system to bring you to safety, he added. Where is Cam? Tori asked weakly as everyone looked around. He has embarked upon a journey that could very well determine the fate of the world as we know it, Sensei spoke cryptically. Brutal, Zoey commented, well, in the meantime, how does it feel to be the second Wolf Master of our generation? She asked, looking at Jenna, better yet, how does it feel to be the only Arctic Wolf Master in history? What? Are you kidding? That's fantastic. Congratulations, Hunter said, hugging his girlfriend, I knew you could do it. Thanks everyone. The new Wolf Master smiled, it actually feels pretty weird. I feel good, knowing that I earned it. Through dedication and hard work, I achieved something that most cubs only dream about. Cubs? Dustin asked, looking confused. Because Paizuk train with their animal spirit, all students are called cubs. Jenna explained, looking at Zoey. Master Mao asked about you. Oh, yeah? What about? Wanted to know if I thought you were ready for your test. She slung her arm around her shoulder. I told him that the only one who would know that would be you. That was the correct answer, Jenna, Sensei commented, especially as something as important as your master stripes. Their graduation practices are more spiritual than ours, and a student must truly be one with their animal in order to pass. What are master stripes? Shane asked, sincerely. Jenna took off her jacket to her ninja gear to reveal a tattoo on her right arm. It was 3 slashes in the shape of animal claw marks. When did you have time to get a tattoo? Dustin asked, getting up to take a look at it. I received it when I passed my test. She explained, showing it to everyone. Sensei was right when he said the test was spiritual. When you pass, the mark appears on its own. That's so cool, Tori said, coming over to give her a hug. Congratulations. Why didn't you want to take the test, Zoey? Shane asked her. She looked up as everyone had turned to her. The spark. The what? She signed, before sitting on the ground with the others. It's unusual for someone trained in their element to also train in their animal spirit. She looked at Jenna as she sat between her and Hunter. Even more so to have 2 of us. Jenna was easier to train. With her power of ice, she has better control over her wolf. Less likely chance of becoming a were. A were. Everyone, minus Sensei, looked shocked. A Paizuk master can transcend to the point of becoming one with their animal. Not in the same way as being able to pass your test. It's more to the point of pausing. She had to think of the right way to explain becoming your animal. That's why wolf masters are so rare. They can lose control and turn themselves into a werewolf. That's insane. Shane said, shaking his head. And you? Tori asked, tentatively. Fire. It's an uncontrollable force. She paused for a moment, looking down. Jenna started training with her wolf when she was 12. I didn't start until I was 15. I needed to have complete control of my element first. And now, it's a matter of not just being one with your animal, which I have achieved, but being one with both. At all times. That's why I was able to take mine. Jenna interjected. Though we are the same age, it was easier for me to take full control of the ice and merge it with my wolf. Especially since it's an Arctic wolf. But there's never been a fox master. Ever. Seeing the impressed looks from the others, she continued, don't look at me like that. That's why I'm not ready. See, there are others who have wolf spirits, and are trained to fight with them. But they're not masters. They never took the test. I wonder if Billy would have passed. Jenna asked her. I don't know, actually. I've wondered the same about all the Ninjetti Rangers. But they never trained to use them the same way as the Paizuk. That'd be interesting though. She stopped, shaking her head. But, just like the wolf, there are people who are trained in the spirit of the fox, but never got their stripes. And the reason for that is the kitsune. The what? Just then, Kit bounded out of her bed, got in Zoe's lap. Hi, baby. You know, Z, she kind of looks like a smaller version of Vixie. Jenna said, petting the little fox on the head. You're right. She does. Take a moment to love on her little fur baby, she continued. A kitsune is the Japanese word for fox, which translates to fox spirit. The fox is very popular in their folklore. You have the Zenko, benevolent or celestial foxes, who are associated with Inari. And Inari Okami is the Japanese kami, or god, of the foxes. She looked up with a smile. A kitsune can have as many as 9 tails. The more tails, the more power. I believe the only 10 tail depicted is Inari. I could be wrong though. Okay. So, what does that have to do with you? Dustin asked, even more confused. When I do the test and pass, my fox will reach its highest form. The kitsune. Then there's the spark. Because my element is fire, it's extremely dangerous not to be one with it before training with the fox. One of the kitsune's powers is the extremely dangerous fox fire. She paused. It's not the same as the fox fire I use now. If I attempt it with Vixie, I could lose control. 100%. The spark is what's in the center of the fire fox. It's what will allow me to fully connect with Vixie and transcend into the master that I want to be. Being able to combine my fire and fox together is my true goal. Because, when I do, she's no longer just a fox. She'll be a kitsune. A beautiful 9-tailed fox, with a lot of power. A power that only you can control, Sensei said, because it's not just about having control over the fox, but controlling the kitsune once you ignite the spark. I believe it's a transcended state of mind. Like the werewolf, you could lose control. That's correct. Zoe said, nodding her head. I need to be physically, mentally, and spiritually ready, in order for my fox to transform into her full kitsune form. For me to be able to control it and be one with her. And I'm not there yet. Determined, she continued, but I will be. And I don't care how many years it takes. I will get full control. Vixie will become a kitsune, like she is meant to be. And I, eventually, will become the first ever fox master. Wouldn't that be, kitsune master? Jenna asked, teasing, making everyone laugh. It wasn't much longer after that a strange sensation washed over them as they started to fade. Sensei, what's happening? Tori asked weakly as she looked up, in fear. Time is resuming its true course, Sensei explained as everyone looked down at themselves. You will be returned to where you were the moment time stopped. Oh, great. Zoe moaned as they disappeared. They reappeared in the field below Madtropolis when time restarted. The monster above them tripped as he unfroze. Before he could attack, whirring sound came in from the distance, distracting everyone. What's that sound? Shane asked curiously as they all looked around. Look. Tori said, pointing up. Is that a Zord? Jenna asked, as what appeared to be a helicopter came flying towards them. There he is. And about time. I like the color too. Who? Dustin asked, shrugging when the fire ninja ignored him. Hello, Power Rangers. The door of the Zord opened to reveal a green Power Ranger leaning out with a giant microphone in his hand. Looks like you could use a little help. Green Samurai Ranger, at your service, he announced. Hey. Who are you? Madtropolis demanded as he looked up at the new ranger. Seriously? Zoe asked. He literally just said, Green Samurai Ranger. Why does it seem like all bad guys have missing brain cells? She just shook her head, as everyone smirked. I'm the ranger who's gonna bring you down, the Green Ranger called. Called it. Zoe grinned, as she high-fived Jenna. Oh, yeah. Called what? Shane asked with a frown. Shaking her head, Zoe just pointed to the fight. They watched as the new Zord fired lasers at Madtropolis. Two can play at that game. He retaliated by shooting electrical surges at the helicopter, but the Zord moved quickly out of the way. Is that all you've got? The samurai asked, Samurai Star Megazord. The helicopter transformed into its own warrior mode. Speed spinner. Locked and dropped. A spinning bumblebee popped out of the power sphere. The new Megazord grabbed it by the handle and swung it like a mace at Madtropolis. It ripped through the air, hitting the monster dead on, causing him to spark in yellow electricity before exploding. Yeah. Cheering, the Rangers on the ground celebrated the victory, before seeing the new Green Ranger jump out of his Zord and land in front of them. Is it just me, or is there a guy in Green Ranger gear over there? Dustin asked hesitantly, confused as he pointed towards the new guy. No, dude, I see it, too. Shane replied, and the others nodded. Yeah, you guys never said anything about a green one, Blake commented with a frown. Yeah, way to hold out on us, Hunter agreed with a nod. Hey, it's news to us too, Shane argued as he looked at the Crimson Ranger, shaking his head. Maybe we're all hallucinating? Dustin suggested, throwing his hands in the air. Zoe and Jenna just shook their heads at the guys, as Tori stayed quiet. You're not hallucinating, Dustin, the Green Ranger finally spoke to them, sounding amused. Dustin's eyes widened, and he and Hunter exchanged looks. How do you know my name? Dustin was clearly overwhelmed, trying to process too much information at once. Why wouldn't I know your name? The Green Ranger asked, amused. The girls just smiled, as Tori figured out exactly who it was. The suit shattered, and everyone just stared at Cam for a moment before grinning. The boys laughed in surprise, and everyone walked over to him, happy that he's back. How is this even possible? Shane asked, confused. Look, right now, we have to get you back to Ninja Ops. Cam hurried over to them, knowing that they were in danger, exposed and out in the open. Zoe and Jenna helped, trying to herd the others along. Come on, he yelled back to Dustin, who wasn't moving. No, I think I'll just wait here for a cab or a bus. I'm worked, he complained, biting his nail. Run, fool. He looked up as he heard Lothor's yell. The evil ninja laughed, in the air above him. Dustin followed the others as they ran off. Right behind you, Cam. Obviously, he didn't get enough love as a child, Blake gulped as they ran down a hill, splashing through the river at the bottom. Oh, Rangers, 2 more voices rang out, and they looked over to see Mara and Capri, who stood nearby smiling, ready to attack them. Lothor flew in from behind, firing laser beams at them as they ran. Before long, Mara and Capri joined in, shooting energy beams from their weapons at the Rangers. They were forced to stop when more attacks hit from in front and Kelsax surrounded them. Hearing laughter, they turned around to see Lothor floating above them. What's the matter, nephew? You don't like reunions? Lothor asked with a laugh. Cam grimaced, and the rest of the group looked very confused. I'm sorry, what? Zoe looked to Cam, who didn't tear his gaze from Lothor. Did he just say nephew? Dustin asked, looking at the genius. You can't choose your family, Lothor. And I certainly didn't choose you, he called up to the exiled ninja. Pity, there's always a place for someone like you in my evil empire, Lothor commented with a frown. You must be joking, the Green Ranger scoffed. We'll see who has the last laugh, Samurai Ranger. Lothor called back as they prepared to fight, only for the Rangers to disappear. As they landed back in Ninja Ops, 6 of them crashed to the ground, while Zoe and Jenna landed on their feet. Do you mind giving us some warning, next time you're going to do something like that? Hunter groaned as he managed to get to his feet. Give us a chance to work on our landings? Tori agreed. Speak for yourself, Zoe nodded as she and Jenna helped everyone up. How did you 2 not fall? Dustin asked. Years of martial arts training, mixed with dance and gymnastics. We're naturally light on our feet, Jenna said with a smirk, causing the boys to frown at them. Well, it may have something to do with the fact that we're used to teleporting. The original Rangers command center was out in the desert, so they had to teleport to get there. We made a lot of trips over there. Zoe smirked at the shocked looks they were giving her. Your appreciation is noted, Sensei replied, sounding slightly amused, if not a bit sarcastic. Sorry, Sensei, Shane apologized as they looked over to him. It's just, if we had our powers, I know we could have taken him, the Red Ranger told him with a frown. Then perhaps it is time you got them back, Sensei spoke, and they all turned and walked over to the ball on the table. The sphere holds the power of 5 Rangers. Only a greater power can open it. Well, how about the power of 8 Rangers? Dustin asked. Everybody looked at him. I think Dustin's right, the Green Ranger nodded, looking at the Yellow Ranger in shock. Thanks. Holding out their hands over the sphere, it started to glow. The lights began to gather under their hands, and after a moment, the sphere shattered, throwing everyone down. 5 different colored of lights went into the weakened Rangers. As everyone stood up, the Wind and Thunder Ninja grins widened as they felt their powers returning, and they leapt back to their feet. They started performing kicks and punches to prove their powers were back. Hey, look. Their faces are back to normal. Zoe commented with a grin. They no longer have a permanent pout. When she stood back up, she walked over to Hunter and Jenna. Feeling better? Yeah, actually. He said, hesitantly, looking at the smirk on her face. Good. Then she flipped in the middle of the room. Whoa. Hey. Hunter? Jenna leaned down to help him up. Honey. What did you do? Me? Everything Zoe does is for a reason, his girlfriend explained, so there had to be a reason why she flipped you like that. Just be glad I didn't punch him in the face. Okay. Tori interrupted. I have just one question, Cam. The Blue Ranger was smiling at the samurai. How did all this happen? Cam just smiled as everyone, except Zoe and Jenna, started to throw questions at him. Shaking their heads, the fire and ice ninjas walked over to the mainframe. Zoey? Sensei asked, trying to get the Pink Ranger's attention. Yes, Sensei? I know that I did not train at the Pai Zuck Academy, however, we have a long-standing friendship with their school. I am quite familiar with Master Mao. As such, we've quit the selection of advanced training books and scrolls from their academy, if you would like to study them. They may, or may not, help you to focus better at combining your element and spirit animal. She looked over at Jenna with a smile. Of course, Jenna, though you have your stripes, you are welcome to look at them as well. They're part of my personal collection. If you decide to study them, they must remain here. Of course, Sensei. We would be honored. Thank you. The girls bowed to the guinea pig, just as the others were coming back. Dude, let's talk about Uncle Lothar, Shane said with a grin. Cam had just finished telling them how he got his powers. He had encountered his parents, and discovered that Sensei had had a twin brother, who had been banished and become Lothar. It was his mother who gave him the samurai amulet. Man, that's crazy, bro. Shane laughed. Tell me about it, Cam said, frowning. Some family tree I have, he grumbled. Cam, Lothar is no relation of ours, Sensei told him firmly. Cam frowned and turned to look at his father. Well, how can you say that? He demanded, not able to understand how his father could be so separated from it. By law, once a ninja is banished, they cease to exist, Zoey explained. That is correct. The one I knew as my brother is a mere memory, he stated. Don't you think I had a right to know? Cam continued, irritated that this had been kept from him. We all did, Hunter nodded. Jenna just shook her head, when the others agreed with him. It's not a matter of right, she said, causing everyone to look at her. Kia Watanabe ceased to exist, and Lothar was banished. It doesn't matter who he is related to. Looking at her boyfriend, she continued, besides, if anyone had a right to know, it would be Cam. The question isn't whether anyone had a right to know or not. Zoey interjected, the question you should be asking is whether you would have battled Lothar any differently, knowing the truth. Sensei nodded in agreement. They all fell quiet, knowing that the girls were right. Their silence was interrupted as the alarm started to blare, and they all looked up at the screen. Speaking of battling, Tori frowned as she looked up at the screen. They all stared as reports of 6 monsters around the city showed up. Whoa, dude, they're all over the place. Shane exclaimed. Split up, Sensei told them as he looked around at the recently recovered Rangers. Rangers, go. Cam, you will remain here to monitor for additional attacks. Shane stayed back for a moment. He put his hand on Cam's shoulder, see you out there, and followed the other guys out. Tag team? Zoey asked, turning toward Jenna. Always. Let's go. They started to leave, they stopped and looked back at Tori. She put a gentle hand on Cam's arm and smiled at him. Green always did look good on you, the Blue Ranger told him. When he smiled back, Tori turned and followed Zoey and Jenna out. Hey, monkey boy. Zoey yelled as she and Jenna ran to save the civilians he was chasing around. You care to try us on, 8-man, she called to the monster, who spun around quickly. Hey. Zoey shoved Jenna's arm as they ran to fight the large gorilla. Don't call him that. That's an insult to Rocky. My bad. Jenna said as she ducked a punch, didn't think about that one. She jumped back and did a roundhouse kick to his back. Besides, the Pink Ranger continued, calling him that is gonna make it to where I never want to eat there again. She jumped in the air, side-kicking him in the head. As he got to his feet, and Jenna paused, oh, wow. Yeah, let's not do that. She swung her glaive up, sending him backwards. I love his food. You'll pay for that. The monster was back up, running at them again. Zoey swung her own glaive up, shooting pink flame at the big brute. Jenna ran over to where he landed and kicked him back down. Guys, how's it going? Dustin called to everyone through their morphers. On target. Zoey and Jenna responded with the others. Fire bow. Arctic blades. Let's put them together. Ready? Ready. Arctic flame shot. The energy blast slammed into the monster, blowing him up. As they lowered their weapons, he reappeared, laughing as they stared in disbelief. Shut the front door. Zoey exclaimed in horror. You can't unblow up. Jenna yelled, that's not how this works. Rangers, return to ninja ops right away, Sensei spoke up through their morphers. We must regroup. The girls exchanged looks before replying, on our way. When they got back to ninja ops, they saw the others gathered around a very uncomfortable-looking Cam, who had his shirt open. When they got closer, they noticed he was covered in painful-looking boils. Oh, gross. Zoey exclaimed. You just sounded like Kim, Jenna commented, casually. Eyes widening in horror, Zoey turned to look at her friend. What? Shaking her head, she put her hands on the ice ninja's shoulders. If I ever do that again, you have my full permission to hit me in the back of the head. Does that go for anyone? Hunter said, smirking at her. Shut it, bug breath. I got a little too close to that overgrown sucker, the Green Ranger twitched, clearly uncomfortable from the toxin that was running through his veins. Starvark has grown, Sensei announced as one of the monsters appeared on the screen. We'll get the Zords, Shane nodded as he glanced to Tori and Dustin. Thunder, Fire and Ice Rangers, can you handle the others? Sensei requested, and they nodded. With pleasure, Hunter smirked, ready to continue fighting. Not a problem, Jenna nodded, just get me away from that. Okay, Zoey said, but if they reanimate again, I'm going to sick my fox on every last one of them. I don't mind taking my anger out on the monsters, but it's a complete waste when they refuse to stay dead. I know, honey, Jenna patted her shoulder, they just don't make the monsters like they used to. I would love to take on one of Rita's old goons. Pudgy pig. Oh, if only. What about me? Cam whined, scratching his shoulder. The others glanced to him, and Zoey looked away in disgust. Cam? What's that? Tori asked as she stared at the long hairs that were growing on his fingers. Cam looked down, unable to stop scratching. I have no idea, he determined as the Rangers continued to stare. Rangers, go, Sensei told them. I will investigate Cam's condition. They happily left, not wanting to look at whatever was happening to the Green Ranger. When they got back in town, Zoey and Jenna confronted the monkey freak again. You're back for another beatdown. He taunted, throwing exploding bananas at them. When they jumped out of the way, Zoey looked at him incredulously. Seriously? Bananas? Shaking her head, she looked at her partner. Didn't the gorilla Zord on the animarium do that? Hey, you're right, smirking up at the monster, Jenna mocked him. What's wrong? Can't come up with your own thing, so you steal from the good guys? Honestly, the bad guys have been stealing ideas from the good guys for years. You little brats. The gorilla banged on his chest and charged at the girls. Like we haven't heard that before. Zoey commented, slashing at him with her glaive. What's with bad guys, anyways? Jenna asked, flipping over her to send a kick at the monster. Can they never come up with anything original? So sad. After shaking her head in resignation, Zoey turned to her friend. Ready to put them together? More than. Ready? Ready. Arctic flame shot. Fire. You didn't play fair. The gorilla complained right before he blew up. That was fun. Jenna said, putting her blades back together. Let's go find the boys. Girls. There are 2 more monsters at the library. Hunter and Blake are on their way there now, Cam told them. We'll meet them there, Zoey told the genius. They ran off and met the Thunder Rangers, joining in on the fight. Nice of you to show up, Hunter commented as Jenna swung her glaive at the monster. What's the matter? Zoey said, looking over at him. Couldn't the big bad Thunder Rangers handle this on their own? He grinned under his helmet before blasting the monster coming up behind her. You're welcome. Let's put them together. Hunter and Blake combined their weapons as the two monsters were thrown into each other. Thunder Blaster. Fire. Arctic Flame Shot. Fire. The attacks slammed into the monsters, finishing them off. Hey, let's head back to Ninja Ops, Zoey said with a grin. I have an idea. That scares me, Hunter said, shaking his head as he and Blake followed the girls. Don't worry, she called over her shoulder, it's a good one. Zoey ran into Ninja Ops in a panic. I finished it. Out of breath, she looked over her shoulder. He's coming. Hide me. Shane motioned for her to sit in Cam's chair. He then turned it to face the computer and stood in front of it, while everyone crowded around to block her view. Hey, guys. Cam called as he ran into Ninja Ops, carrying his samurai saber in his hand. I linked my samurai saber directly to the Ninja Ops mainframe, so I should be able to continue my strategic duties even in the field, he explained, before pausing, his smile disappearing as he found the Rangers standing in front of the computer, grinning widely. What? Cam frowned suspiciously. What are you all smiling about? He asked and noticed that Zoey was missing. The Rangers laughed and stepped to the side, revealing Zoey sitting cross-legged in his chair, holding green ninja gear. Wow. Where did that? Cam stared in amazement, a wide grin spreading across his face as Zoey stood up. Just a few adjustments on an old test uniform, she said, handing it over. Nothing an industrial sewing machine couldn't handle. You're welcome. Laughing, she clapped him on the shoulder. This was a bit of a rush job. So, I'll fix you a couple more. If you're gonna be part of the team, you gotta have the gear, Shane told him with a grin. It takes a powerful man to choose his own destiny, Sensei spoke as Cam held it against himself excitedly. Congratulations, no father could be prouder of his son. Cam grinned as they gathered around him, just as excited to have him on the team as he was to be on it. Zoey was jogging on the beach, thinking about everything that's happened today, and enjoying the sunset. Suddenly, she stopped to grab her head in pain. Looking up, she saw herself in the middle of a battlefield. A war was raging all around her. Not knowing where she was, Zoey started to panic. What's going on? Where am I? Jumping back in surprise as a creature went flying at her. Instead of hitting her, he went right through her and attacked someone behind her. Am I hallucinating? Confused, she started to turn around when she saw a falling star. It looked like it was coming right at her. Zoey took off, trying to outrun it. The star crashed to the ground behind her, sending her flying. When she turned around to see what it was, she froze. Standing in front of her was an iridescent nine-tailed kitsune. The beautiful fox just stared at her, like it was looking into her soul. What really drew Zoey's attention, though, was the star on her forehead. What the? Before she could reach out, the fox took off. Making up her mind, she decided to follow. She reached a small clearing and found the kitsune just standing there, like she was waiting for something. Before too long, a man came running into the clearing holding 2 bundles in his arms. He didn't get too far when a blast sent him flying. He made his body turn so he landed on his back, protecting his cargo. Laying the bundles down, he got up and turned to the creature. He was covered in gold plates, with purple and blue accents. He had a spiky crown like head and wings. Hand them over, he demanded. Never going to happen. I would die before I let that happen, the warrior claimed, taking on a fighting stand before transforming into a creature similar to his antagonist. He was solid gold, with silver and white accents. What looked like wings appeared on the side of his legs and shoulders. 2 more wings crowned his head with a giant gem in the center. While they fought, the kitsune walked past Zoey and over to the bundles. When Zoey got there, she noticed that they were babies. What? Before she could stop it, the kitsune turned into pure energy, leaving a glowing star behind. The star landed on one of the babies, in the form of a necklace. Hearing a cry, she looked over in time to see the fighters shoot some sort of blast at each other. Once collided, the intense light blinded Zoey. Blinking, the Pink Ranger looked around. She was back on the beach. What just happened? Looking like she was about to hyperventilate, she reached into her jacket and tugged on a chain. Dangling from the bottom was the same star she saw on the fox's forehead. The same star that landed on top of that baby. What does it mean? To be continued. Quick side note. I'm trying to get the Pink Ranger series done quickly because I may have something special come up. I'll be working on that as soon as I'm done with the Pink Ranger series, and I'll keep you guys updated. That's it for Chapter 16 of Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. I'll be having a lot more of this series out soon, continuing the Pink Ranger story. Remember, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. As always, may the power protect you, and see you for the next adventure.